In front of me I have the Galaxy Tab A8, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick view on, well, the spec sheet. So let me just grab my little knife right here and pop it open. There we go. Obviously we get our device right here. Just pop it straight out. I don't know why, but the packaging and just overall experience here seems really pitiful. Like, the packaging is just kind of worn out, as you can see right here. The device at the back was dirtied up, like smudged up. There's more trash here. So it's not looking too great as a first experience here, to be completely honest. And I don't see really a reason for that. Anyway, let's move on. Oops. Just get rid of this, it just got stuck to me. So under here we get absolutely nothing. Now this looks like it used to have a place for a charger. Oh no, there we go, there's a charger. So we have paperwork, we got a charger, type C to type A, yep. So just a typical thing that you'd expect, I guess. It's actually quite surprising that we do have a charger, though don't expect too much. It is a... what is this? That's a 7.8 watt charger. Wow, that's pitifully disappointing. Anyway, let's just turn on the device. There we go. So while it's turning on, I'm going to quickly go into the spec sheet. So, actually, let me first start off with the price, and that's probably gonna give you a better perspective on what you might expect from the performance and just everything else. The price is about 230 euros, so it will depend, I guess, when you buy it, if it's on sale or not. So, but the general price is about 230 euros. And with that, you get a 10.5 inch display with a 1200 by 1920 pixels, so it's a fairly decent display. It's a full HD. I don't think you need anything more on a tablet, even at a big screen. So this is, I would say, good. Now it is just a TFT LCD display, so nothing absolute like special in any kind of way here. Additionally, it doesn't come with any kind of like high refresh rate or anything like that, so just a typical 60, which is another disappointment. Screen to body ratio is at 80% and pixels per inch 216, but like I said, that doesn't really matter. What does matter is the stupidity of Samsung right here, forcing me to log in to my Wi-Fi. For what reason do I need to do so? It's a brand spanking new device, fully unboxed. Why? Why do I need to connect to it? Why do you need to evaluate that the device is not stolen or something? It's out of the freaking box. Oh, that absolutely frustrates me. And it frustrates me even more because once you do so, it's gonna start checking for the freaking updates. And the new devices that have been released this year, so like the S22s and Tab S8s, haven't been doing too great at setting up in a relatively reasonable time. And another stupidity here is the restart. Your phone, it's not a phone. Oh my god, Samsung needs to restart to set up features and services from your service provider. There is no SIM card. Why? Oh my god. Now this should frustrate everybody because it is absolutely stupid. So yeah, amazing. It doesn't take that long to reboot that device. I can force reboot it quicker for you if you need to. Whatever, you know what, I'm just gonna move on and let this trash do whatever it's doing, because apparently Samsung has decided to completely go AWOL here. So let's just continue and completely ignore the setup, to be honest, because it's gonna take longer than anything that I can say about this device. And I'm pretty sure that is gonna be the case. We'll see. We're looking at the cameras at the back right here, a single camera, which is an 8 megapixel sensor, and then in the front we got a 5 megapixel. Obviously you're not going to be getting this device for the cameras, and it's a tablet too, so it should be even more apparent. So don't expect anything special or anything even average from this. It's a budget tablet, so that's primarily what you should expect from it. And in terms of storage, this specific model is the 64 gigabyte storage with 4 gigabytes of RAM. You have a lower model, if you actually want to go with a lower model, though that I wouldn't really recommend, is the 32 gigabyte with a 3 gigabyte RAM. Now the reason why I don't recommend it, it's not because of the storage. 32 gigs is fine for some people, so it really depends. And let's see if we can actually expand it. And yes, we can expand. Oh, actually we do have a SIM card slot here, so the reason for me to reset the device is stupid, because there is no SIM card inserted. What did it need to connect to? What provider? There's no SIM card. So yeah, we can expand it using SD card, so 32 gigs would be fine for a lot of people. You can expand it further. I can obviously slap a SIM card as well to get mobile data. Though needing to reboot the device for that is stupid, even though you don't have any SIM card in here by default. So yeah. Like I was saying, 32 gigs is fine, but the 3 gigs of RAM will be a little bit on a lower end, which I don't really recommend going for 3 gigs. In this current time, it is going to be on a lower side, which will make the device feel even more sluggish than it probably already does. So I do recommend going for at least a 4 gigabyte, just paying a little bit more. You do get also the benefit of having more storage, but what I would consider to be more beneficial is the extra RAM. Obviously you also have another like a shelf here, which is the 128 gig storage with also 4 gigs of RAM. Though this one I don't really recommend. You can expand the storage to like half a terabyte with a SD card, so having more built-in storage doesn't really give you any benefit if you have to pay more for it, especially that you can't remove it or anything like that. So I think SD card might be just a better option here. And we're gonna be seeing this for a while here, I believe. Let's see. Will I actually be able to finish this in a reasonable amount of time? It looks like it. Oh, there we go, we're getting our tablet ready. Oh wow, it actually looks like I might be able to finish this in a reasonable time, because it wasn't actually looking for or setting your device up for half an hour. Fantastic. I love that the budget device at 230 euros sets up quicker than a S22 Ultra. Beyond me how that is a thing, but oh well. Samsung for you here. So now that I get to look at the device setup, which honestly I don't know how that really matters here. I'm not really gonna go into what's on here and camera test. It's not something that I want to test. So let's just quickly finish up the rest of the things, which is like I mentioned, 3 or 4 gigs of RAM. We got a T618 processor right here. Built-in battery of 7,400 milliamp hours and a fast charging at 15 watts. Oh, the audacity of calling this fast charging. Oh yeah. Apparently we get fast charging at 15 watts, even though additionally I want to keep remind you that the charger that we got here is not even 15 watts, it's half of that, it's 7.5. So, amazing that we can charge it at 15 watts, which is already pitiful. The charger that we are provided with, it's half of that. So yeah, that's extremely disappointing, even for a budget device in my opinion. And what is it? I don't think there's anything else to say about this. It's running Android 11, One UI 3, so I guess what you would expect from a relatively new device from Samsung. Obviously, if you're buying some kind of like tablet, no matter if it's budget or not, you expect to have the latest Android with the latest One UI from Samsung, and obviously you get that here. But yeah, just to finish this off, other than the display right here, everything else is a little bit underwhelming. For 2,000 or not 2,000, for 230 euros, I still think this is a little bit too much for a device that just kind of under delivers like this. And in recent timing, I will be completely honest, I grew to despise Samsung. The things that you have here, that you like, some of the things are just so annoying and have no place. Like for instance, opening up a Galaxy store and being presented with a flippant ad right away on a device that you already paid. And I don't have internet connection right now because oh no, I do have internet connection. Wait. Oh no, I first have to update it. Once I update it, I will get an ad. But I guess on a cheap device like this, it's not really a problem without consider. But when you're paying, for instance, $1,200 for a S22 Ultra, you expect there to be no ads. You already paid premium price, and yet you're getting treated the same way as someone who basically spends like 200 euros on their cheap tablet. So this is not really a dig at like price differences. This is just a dig at Samsung and them just trying to sell you anything anywhere. The entire like setup process, when you try to skip signing into Google, or not Google but Samsung account, it gives you this stupid pop-up, skip on all this. And basically everything that they show there is a plagiarism of what Google already offered for way longer, way better, and already comes pre-baked in with this exact device or any other Samsung device. So yeah, I don't know. I used to like Samsung. They used to do good things. They still have some neat features in their devices, but at this current time, I think like the devices are overpriced for what you get. There are other companies that provide the same kind of device in a way, but for cheaper. So Samsung is turning to something like an Apple, and I don't really like the fanboyism of a device just because the device used to be good. It's not anymore, or the company used to be good and it's not anymore in terms of Samsung. So this device right now, it's a budget device, but it's a little bit too high priced for a tablet especially. It's offering just like the most minimum specs that you can expect from a device at this time, and it is still coming in around 230 euros. That is too much for a device that offers this little. So that is basically my overview here. Personally, if you're planning to buy a tablet, quickly check. Obviously, this will sound absolutely stupid, the comparison, but if I would be buying any kind of tablet, I would probably go for the Apple's iPad mini, just because it was an outstanding device and it wasn't actually that expensive. Obviously it was way more expensive than this, but it offered significantly way more performance, significantly way more of everything. So that is something that I would probably personally prefer to just save up and buy if I don't need a tablet right now. In any cases, additionally, what I can recommend instead of this, if you for instance want also Samsung, go for like the older Samsung tablets, the S7 or even S6. Those will work fantastically even at current times, and you might be able to find them, as an example, used or refurbished at reasonable prices, possibly at a competitive price to this. So that is what I would recommend you to look into instead of this. If you can't find anything else at a reasonable price, then I guess you don't really have a choice. But like I said, I would recommend saving up a little bit, even just a little bit more, and even going for like a mid-range, because mid-range is a little bit more balanced in the price. I don't know how to say it otherwise. At this point in time, budget devices from like Samsung and companies like that, they're not really budget. You pay to be scammed in a way. like and it's not the only like company. Obviously Xiaomi does this too, where they will release a what is it, like a $100 or a $150 phone, which is completely budget, I understand. But when you consider the fact that you can buy an older device for way cheaper or about the same price as this budget phone, and it will perform way better than what you're paying right now for as a new one, I start to like question what's the validity of like buying a budget device if for the same price you can get something way better that was a flagship before. It's just old and isn't sold anymore. That's the only difference. So that's what I recommend doing here, looking into other alternatives, seeing if your budget allows you to go for something higher maybe, or if there's any kind of older device, even from Samsung, at a higher shelf, like the S lineups, S lineups, but old ones, which will, like I said, perform way better. And one last thing that I'll mention is, in certain cases, I understand that some people will want to go with a budget, for instance, phone. As an example, I did an unboxing of like some, I think, A53 Samsung, and even though Okay, so I guess welcome back. I went through the entire unboxing and the camera ran out of memory, so I'm just kind of gonna go over this really quickly. You already seen hopefully the unboxing right there, so let's just quickly go through it. I did go through the setup of this device, which was absolute pain. The changes that Samsung has made to their setup are absolutely pitiful, where it takes too long to actually set up. Now, it doesn't really seem like much of a problem, but when you're comparing to other devices which set up way quicker and have way less restrictions over this one, it gets a little bit annoying and frustrating that apparently a premium, one of the quotation mark better companies that produces devices like phones or tablets, can't actually figure out how to do the damn setup. So what I mean by that is you, number one, are forced to connect to Wi-Fi for any stupid reason that is. I have no idea. I don't actually care what it is, because it has no place. I don't care if it's because of warranty or something like that. I can do any other device setup without needing to do that. I can't do that here for some reason. What about if I don't know, wanted to set it up somewhere outside of my home and I don't have Wi-Fi connection? What am I supposed to do? Whip out a Starlink? Another thing is, once you choose a region, you need to restart the device because of getting information from your service provider. It does have LTE connectivity, but there is no card in there. So why do I need to reboot the device? What provider are you connecting to? Exactly. The Phantom one that isn't there? So that's another frustrating thing. And once you do that, once the device reboots and comes back, it does the checking for updates for extensive time. Now, I'll mention that this budget device apparently can go through it quicker than S22 Ultra. Baffles my mind, but that's Samsung for you nowadays, apparently. So yeah. Now, once you get to the setup, you're presented with the Android 11 with a One UI 3. So whatever you would expect from a device from Samsung that's been released in a relatively recent time. So basically the latest things you can get. So at least that's good. Now, in terms of the display right here, we're looking at a 10.5 inch display with a 1200 by 1920 pixels per inch, or not per inch, but resolution. Pixels per inch are at 216 with an 80% screen to body ratio. So screen wise, at least the specs that I just mentioned are just common, what you would expect, and honestly they're not that bad. But what is bad is the actual display right here, which is a TFT LCD display. It doesn't get fairly bright, it doesn't get fairly accurate, it honestly looks kind of garbage. And if I max out the brightness, which I've already almost was maxed out, this is the max brightness. The environment here is dim. The camera is basically at ideal level. To put that in perspective, let me quickly just get my phone and get rid of all the notifications. There we go. So right here we're looking at my phone, which is right now at half brightness, and I believe it's about brighter than this, though it's completely dark. I have an AMOLED display, so take that. But obviously I can brighten it up and you can kind of see how it differs. Like the white right here is being right now overpowering the camera setup, so it looks a little bit too bright on the camera. So there we go. That's it's kind of what you get. Obviously, if you take this display outside into direct sunlight, I doubt you will be seeing anything on it. So that is something that you want to keep remembering if you're planning to use this device. I don't know, if you want to go onto your patio, use it, I don't know, while you're sunbathing, yeah, forget about that one. So yeah, now that we get that out of the way, we can touch upon the cameras. I'm not even gonna flip it. The cameras are underwhelming here. It's an 8 megapixel and a 5 megapixel. So 8 at the back, a 5 at the front. That's about it. You can't really do anything outstanding with them. It shoots at 1080p 30 frames max, so it's honestly what you would expect from a budget device. And in terms of storages and RAM, we have a couple versions, exactly 3. The lowest one, which is the 32 gigs and 3 gigs of RAM, will be the cheapest one for obvious reasons. And the one that I have right here is the second one, which is 64 with 4 gigs of RAM, which is what I would recommend picking up if you're planning to buy this device, but I don't recommend buying this device. And the last one is 128 gigs of storage with also 4 gigs of RAM, which is one that I wouldn't overly recommend, just because you do have option to expand the storage using SD card in here. So there's no reason for you to pay for extra storage when you can just pop in half a terabyte of SD, or maybe you already have one that you can use. You can slap it in here and have everything that you have on that card any moment. And once you, I don't know, want to transfer it, all you need to do is just pop out the card. You don't need to back up anything or do any kind of like extra gimmicks. You just take out the SD card and you're good to go. So that's why I recommend going for the 64 with 4 gigs of RAM. The RAM here is more important over the storage, in my opinion, because RAM is one of those things that you won't be able to upgrade. And moving on to next part, we have a 7040 mAh battery with a 15 watt apparently a fast charging. If 15 watts is a fast charging, I'm a saint, which yeah, I'm gonna leave that unspoken. And if that wasn't enough, the charger that we get right here is a 7.5 watts, so half of what we can get, right? Yep, it's 7.5. Actually no, is it 7? It's 7.8, so a little bit over half. So 7.8 watt charger that you get in the box, even though the device can do 15. Goodness, 15 watts is what I'd consider trash. So the fact that they can't even meet that standard of trash with their charger is absolutely pitiful. It's absolutely baffling to my mind how this company managed to succeed when they're doing some stupid trash like this. Now, if you're considering my opinion here to be unjust, you just paid for, or maybe not just, but you're thinking about maybe picking up this device where it can charge at 15 watts, but the charger you get, what you pay for, is a 7.8 watt charger. So, to utilize what you paid for in the tablet, you need to get another charger to charge your device a little bit faster. And mind you, 15 watts is absolutely garbage. My 3-year-old phone, which costs as much as this tablet right now, can charge, well, twice as fast at 30 watts. And at this point, this device, even though it was a flagship at one point, costs as much as this, if not less. So yeah, now that that is explained why I am so critical about things like this, you can now hopefully see where I'm coming from, where older devices that are basically now way cheaper because they're old can outperform what you're paying right here because it's new. You don't really get anything new in here though, that's the problem. So let's move on to, what is it there, last part. We got a fingerprint side mounted, where is it actually? Do we even have a fingerprint? It does say that we do have a fingerprint on the side, but if we do, I cannot find it. So the easiest way to find it would be just to go to the settings. So let's see. Actually, I think we don't have a fingerprint sensor right here, so I think that is incorrect. We have face recognition, biometrics. Yeah, it doesn't look like we do have. Doesn't look like we have any kind of fingerprint sensor. So this is incorrect. Yeah, well. So I think this would honestly conclude this device. I will mention, if you're planning to pick up any kind of Samsung tablet, do look into their older devices like the S6, Tab S6 specifically. They have a light version and they have the standard one. Hopefully you can, the light ones and brand new ones cost, I don't know, $300 or so, and they are going to be better than this. If you can find, I don't know, a refurbished one or maybe used one that isn't actually damaged in any way, just like a really good condition used one, I probably would recommend going for this one. Now, if you're going for a used one and you don't know really how to look for a used tablet, I do recommend asking someone for help with this one, just because sometimes people can be absolute trash and try to scam you or sell you something that is faulty. And if you're not sure what to look for when buying a used device from someone, hopefully someone else can help you out with this one so you don't get scammed. But that being said, if you have an option to go for things like the S6 Tab, which is a older flagship from Samsung in terms of the tablets, it comes roughly around the same price. If you can get it used, it should be basically the same price, but it will be way better than what you get right here. So that is what I would highly recommend checking out. Other than that, I wouldn't recommend going for this, considering that budget devices from any manufacturer right now are, in my opinion, aren't really worth the money. There are certain exceptions to that when buying, for instance, phones, where a phone can have a higher refresh rate, and some people really want the higher refresh rate over like an older devices which are going to be more powerful but will run only 60 Hz. So that is understandable, and some people also want to utilize on the phones, as an example, 5 GHz, which most of the mid-range budget devices nowadays come with 5 GHz. So that is one of the things that some people will want to utilize. But if you're not that kind of person, or if whatever you're looking for, it doesn't have those features anyway, like for instance this tablet, where it does not have any kind of high refresh rate, going for a lower or older device but a higher one around the same price, you don't lose anything, you just gain. So that's why I would recommend going for either used, refurbished, or even a newer one, but like older flagship device. And that being said, don't buy this. It's honestly not worth the money. Even though it seems cheap, you can buy, like I said, used refurbished ones at the same price, which will be much better value for your money. And if you found my rant here, maybe recommendations helpful, don't forget to hit that like button, and thanks for watching.